the Cavs were horse feed this past Saturday. I couldn't tell you what was more stale, the leftover popcorn from the second half of the UNC game or the Cavaliers' offense. This was one pony the Cav man could not ride. Final score, 33-7. The ball did not bounce the other way in basketball as Tennessee voluntold us to get off their island. The final straw was a mauling by the Chip and Joanne Gaines' alma mater, Baylor. That was given to turnover-prone UVA. Since our producer has advised us that basketball is costing us listeners, let's run it up the mountain and talk turkey. Well, Sean, do you want to talk about SMU first, or are you ready to talk about a little bit of turkey leg?
Let's get the ugly out of the way first, and then we'll bring it back in with Tech. So, Ben and I had an enjoyable time at the game, except for the play on the field. You know, we had to deal with some rowdy fans who just don't know ball, it seems like at times.
Yeah, it seemed like either you were fighting with the officials on the field or you were fighting with the fans on who should be throwing the ball for the Cavaliers.
Oh, yeah, I was a little fired up. I mean, rightfully so. People were calling, let's be real, after the first incompletion, people were calling for Musket, and it was a little idiotic for me to start. Like, let's get into this game a little bit, and then, you know, we go for it on 4th and 6, and fans beside us start going nuts calling for Musket, and I looked at him and I said, no, who else could you put in this game to make that play any better? I mean, when our offensive line is not giving up or not giving any chance to block, and they're sending 4 guys and getting home, there ain't no chance for our offense to get going, especially when we can't get the running game going.
I mean, SMU gave us plenty of opportunities for him to showcase his talent. I mean, we pretty much 50-50 split in possession. I think we slightly edged them out. And I think we had a few more ran plays. So, I mean, he had plenty of opportunities to showcase why he should be the starter. And I get what those fans are getting at. I mean, it was a little annoying, but at the same time, you know, I think they wanted Musket before the game even started. So they were just using that as an excuse to kind of voice their opinion about it.
Yeah, everybody's got an opinion. It's beyond me at times when people can't understand that we're in the midst of a tough 3-game stretch. We're playing 3 ranked opponents in a row, and people are expecting us to come out and dominate, move the ball, and win these games. And I understand you want to be a little more competitive than we've been, but we've had a lot of issues between injuries, offensive line not holding up, play calling. I mean, we can get more into this, but just looking at some of the drives, you know, where swing pass right, swing pass left, and then, what are you going to do on 3rd and 9? I think we're probably going to throw the ball. Well, again, they're just going to rush 4 or 5, and then we're outnumbered in the secondary. Our guys aren't getting open, fighting to get open.
Well, speaking of opinions and belly buttons and, you know, Mills, what did you have to say about all that?
Well, I got to watch the game from my good old hometown, Franklin. Went home for the folks for, pre-Thanksgiving. So got to watch it with my dad, who was a former season ticket holder. And
that apple doesn't fall far from the tree with you, huh?
Yeah, you got to put wins in to get me to get back out. You should
probably support the team, but
win games first, Elliot.
He won 5.
They were 500 going into that game.
I mean, they were, but who did they beat? Really?
We were projected to win how many, Mills? 2, 3?
3.
We won 5. You can't be but so mad.
I think
support the team,
but going into this game, we had 2 games left to get to 6 wins to get bowl eligible, right? The fans are calling for it. People are saying, why not play Musket? He had an opportunity to shut everyone up. Just let Musket start on senior night, do his thing, or senior day, because it was a 12 o'clock kickoff. He had the opportunity. And then if Musket played bad, all right, he could say, all right, everybody, that's who you wanted. Now let me go back to let's win the Tech game. But from the start, it didn't look good. I mean,
it definitely didn't make sense to me where we were scoreless in the first half and we didn't see Musket.
Yeah, second half, why do you just bring him in?
I mean, I think it was 20-0 going into the second half, and history will show that we've had a lot of
17-0.
17-0 it was quickly 20-0. But history kind of shows that we've kind of come back and rallied. So maybe that was the perspective, that we were getting the ball back and we were going to have a good shot at making a good comeback. But I was a little disappointed, not even after the first half. We go into the last quarter and we didn't see him at all. I thought that was kind of a slap in the face. And what maybe there's more to the story.
No, I have a take on this. Listening to his press conference, I hear what he's trying to say. He was saying if you make the change, he feels like it's permanent. I don't necessarily agree that it had to be permanent, but I think you don't want to shake Calandria's confidence. He was playing a clean game. If he had a couple turnovers, it's a different story. But he played a clean game.
Well,
he's not
clean game,
play,
but you're down 17.
You can
He's
play,
playing. The ball.
Hold on. Don't gang up on me. No,
Elliott's
a clean
an
game.
idiot.
A clean game. Well, he's not an idiot. He's making a lot of money off of us taxpayers in Virginia.
Smart man.
He played a clean game as far as turnovers. On the turnovers, he didn't throw the ball to the other team 3 times this game.
Well,
but hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
So in that regard, you don't want to make the change, and you want him to keep building momentum going into Tech game, knowing that these last 2 opponents have been playoff contenders. So yeah, we're not going to have the best, knowing that our line hasn't protected. And I'll steal another line from Elliott. If he was back there with clean pockets and missing throws, yeah, you look at that and evaluate and say, maybe we make a change. He's had no time. Every time he gets back to his second drop. And he's not getting any help from his offensive coordinator. They're not moving the pocket.
Maybe the boys want to see 7.
You asked Elliott in the post-game conference, what do you do? Can you move the pocket? He's like, yeah, you can move it. Dez isn't doing that. He moved the pocket twice. And since we're on the thing, I'm going to end my rant with, I was okay.
He's not going to end his rant.
No, I got plenty to talk about. I'm okay with Musket playing in this game. I'm okay with it. If that's how he rolled, that's how he rolled. I just feel like Calandria, it's been a situation of circumstances where not everything's going right. He's trying to do too much. I get it. However, I think AC gave you everything he had in this game. He gutted it out.
Which is not good enough.
We played a top 15 team who's about to be in the playoff. And you're looking for him to go out there and win you a game? I think you got to get some realistic expectations on what you want.
So you just think we're going to lose?
No, I'm not saying that. I think we could have been more competitive, but it's not just one guy. He didn't turn the ball over. He did not. He wasn't missing a lot of throws.
Maybe his teammates don't want to play for him.
I don't think that's accurate at all.
I want to let Sean finish.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No. So back on this, he never quit on his team. He got hurried 20 times and sacked for 9.
Sucks.
There was no. That's not on him. That is on the offensive line.
Throw the ball away.
You can't throw the ball away when you can't even get through the drop. So you keep saying this. If you throw it away right when they get to you, that is a penalty, Mills. It's called intentional grounding. I don't think you're aware.
I know, but Musket wouldn't have that problem.
Musket's going to take the sack as well. This is what I'm saying. It didn't matter who played. It's the same outcome what happened.
Well, so you say that he played a clean game, but you're missing the next part of that. He played a clean, unproductive game.
Well, yeah.
So, let me finish.
Yep.
Yeah. So get him, Ben. Get him, Ben.
No, but if he's playing a clean, unproductive game, it's 33-0 going into the fourth quarter. You don't roll Musket out there because you're scared that you're going to hurt the kid's confidence. It's an easy out for Tony Elliott. It's senior night. We're going to put our senior out there. That may be his last chance to play a game this year. And he and Elliott stole that from him. So, but, I mean, like I'm saying, clean but unproductive. So why wouldn't you roll him out there? It doesn't prove anything if he scores. You know what I mean? Because he's done that already this year. It's not going to hurt his confidence. And I don't care if AC leaves. And nobody should be concerned about keeping AC, because if he's not mentally tough enough to understand why Musket's coming in the fourth quarter in that situation, then he probably shouldn't be there.
Would love for AC to go back to Florida.
So I don't disagree with you there. I'm just saying I can see what Elliott's trying to do. He's trying to instill confidence. He came off a bad game. He got benched at half. Let him ride this game out, work through it, and which he did. He ended up that final drive getting something positive out of it, even in a broken play. So, but I want to finish with what I was saying. I think the reason why Calandra is still in these games is because of the heart and the grit he's showing every single week. Again, rushed 20 times, sacked 9 times. There was not a clean spot on that kid's jersey. So he never quit on his team, and you have to give the credit where it was due. They want to complain about the stats. His number doesn't look great. I understand that. You also have to look at the level of competition where it's been. And it's also a product of everything, whereas the line, the play calling, etc. Now, I will say there are plays that he could have probably made something happen. The fumble on the final drive where we ended up scoring, he had Noah Vaughn in the flat. I don't know why he didn't throw that one. That's the only really play that I saw that was kind of indecisive, and he had a guy. The rest of them were pretty tough. His receivers weren't getting open. And again, it comes down to when SMU can get pressure with 4-man front, that leaves you with 7 other guys to drop back. And when you're blocking with 5, quarterback is 6, you got 4 receivers against 7 guys. So there's no one going to be open. So
Well, you've spoken that you felt like the result was going to be the same with Musket, but we don't really even know that. And so you say, well, I've seen him miss throws in other games, or I've seen him get sacked in other games, but he hasn't even played a complete game this year. So we're kind of discrediting him. I think we're doing Musket a disservice from the perspective that he's had no actual live game reps other than the time that he comes in. And if you really just looked at the stat line in Notre Dame, so if you're telling me the second team Notre Dame isn't that good, I'd probably say no. Their second team is probably just as good as our first team, and is just as good as many of the other first teams that we've played this year. And he was productive there. And we could say that, he would do the same thing would happen, but we honestly can't say the same thing would happen because we never saw him play. We can't say that he won't make those reads once he catches up to game speed. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that,
More so for me, it's the pressure that is getting to the quarterback.
Yeah. And I just don't want
Musket is a different type of quarterback. He's not going to take off and run as quickly and not as elusive as Calandria. Love it or hate it, he's able to break that.
Can you look up what was his loss? What was his rush yards this past game?
Who, Calandria?
Yeah.
So Calandria rushing 20 attempts, 65 gained, and 70 loss. So part of it's that big
negative
fumble.
5. So he lost 5 yards. His legs did not bail him out of this game.
Well, it bailed him out at times, but when you got to think every time.
Yards.
Yeah, but not all those are technically rush. Anytime you're sacked, that counts as a rush.
Yeah, but it's still.
So
what you're saying is
if you get sacked 9 times at 5 yards, that's 40.
Okay.
But so he had positive yards.
His legs didn't.
But then he fumbled.
His legs
and
didn't
lost
bail
25.
him. I'm just saying I don't feel like his legs bailed him out and really pushed us over the hump. Musket has shown the ability to.
He can run, but I don't think he's not the same type of dynamic runner, which we all sat here and said we didn't want Musket anyway.
Yeah, and I will 100% raise my hand and said that I thought that AC was supposed to be the starter because what I saw last year, and if you compared this year to last year, he's not been the same.
He hasn't grown. We've said that. He hasn't grown as much.
Honestly, he probably still has a higher ceiling than Musket. And
that's because he's still got 2 more years left.
Well, no, what I'm getting at is that boils back down to Dez. And Dez not creating cultivating a situation where he can grow and getting the most out of him. That's Dez's fault. That's some of the play calling's fault. And I told you guys earlier that Dez isn't off the hook because of AC's
What
play.
if I play a little devil's advocate though?
Yeah, well,
what if Dez is like the plays that I'm calling is what AC is able to do?
If that was the case, then you would have put Musket in a long time ago. If you felt like
maybe that's for both of them.
Then you need to change your playbook. We're about to play our 12th game.
Well, I agree. I think Dez should be fired, but
Dez should have been fired 3 weeks ago.
Going into Virginia Tech, I'm starting Tony Musket.
If you ask that question, do you really think that's the case?
No, I'm just saying.
So it's not even really worth hashing out that.
I think they should fire Dez. He should have been fired a long time ago.
So it all really, and it goes back to what you said, Sean, where this was all kind of boils down to like the perfect storm. So the offensive line not showing up for him, Dez not writing up what's best for him possibly, and then just his inability to overcome those factors. One thing that's really disappointing that I see with the wide receivers, we saw it a lot with they flushed Jennings out a lot, but one thing you would see that I saw was really different was their when he got flushed out, the wide receivers were coming back to him, and
Yeah,
they were getting.
and there was
open.
times.
So that if that would happen, that would be great. But they're not doing that for him.
No, and the only play where the receivers look like they didn't quit on the play is the 34-yard touchdown throw that only counts for 4 yards towards the end to Malachi Fields is the only time. There was plenty of times where he's scrambling looking for something, and the guys are just standing there and they're blanketed. So I only defend Calandra because it's not like it's just one thing and he's got a clean pocket and he just can't hit the broadside of a barn. He's not getting any time. His receivers are blanketed because we don't have Trail Harris. So we haven't thrown a ball. We didn't throw a ball over 12 yards. We had 2 attempted shots down the field, which are the good read. One-on-one matchup with Fields, you like that. The ball is a little out of place. You live with that. Not everybody's going to be perfect. So I'm just saying.
Fields is also not that speed guy either.
But
He's got to win. He's got to win that jump ball 50-50.
Correct.
He's got to put it up there for him. And that's one thing that I haven't really seen AC, those deep balls.
We've missed him.
It just doesn't seem like he really hits them. And maybe because it's not Trell's not out there, but he doesn't.
I think
he's not very accurate with it.
It starts with Trell, and then it also starts with the play calling where we don't even hit. I don't understand why we're not running many slant routes with Chris Tyree. Neville didn't get the ball in the middle of the field, but maybe once, and that was off another busted play. So it all comes back to Dez needs to find a way to make this work. If your line isn't working right, get it going. Figure it out. Roll the pocket out. And that's what he did on some of the plays that he ran it out, and it looked like we had a good play, and he can get a clean look at it and throw a good ball. So, and we all, again, we kind of went back this. We all sat here and said Musket doesn't gain us anything. If you're building for the future, you might as well roll with Calandra.
I'm going to say AC is not the future of this program. He is not going to take us to be successful. He's not a good quarterback. He is a mid-major quarterback. He is not a Power 4 program quarterback.
Well, he's in his second year of a Power 4 school. So
I understand that, but we only won 8 games in those 2 years.
But that's not, again, it's not all on Calandra. Not everything is all in Calandra.
You take someone from the top 8 AC programs that come here, we win more games.
I think a lot of quarterbacks still struggle with this line and this play calling.
What made it really difficult, and like you said, we agreed at the beginning of the season we wanted to see AC, and he was giving us what we needed, but you did start to see the drop off. We looked at that earlier. We started seeing the drop off at the Clemson game. I think he did fine. He was serviceable, but the UNC game was really bad. Pittsburgh, we won. And what really made that difficult for Elliott to make that type of decision? Because I have a gut feeling that I wouldn't have been surprised if he had lost against Pitt. If we probably would have had a different starter against SMU.
And we talked.
He put Elliott in a position where it's tough for him to pull AC and not name him the starter. But I don't know.
Do you think AC starts this week?
I don't really care.
I don't think you have a chance. I don't think you start Musket without. If you were going to start Musket or had an inkling you were going to start Musket, you would have played him against SMU.
Or maybe he's saving it because it's rivalry week and doesn't want to show Tech anything.
Then you're Musket coming in cold. Either way, I just want to win the game. I don't care who starts at quarterback, but
I think
it's going to be AC.
I think it's going to be AC, and only because of how
long is that lease?
I only think that's. I think he'll.
You think he finishes out the game?
Probably.
Even if we're down, let's just say 11, 10?
Maybe. I don't know. It
depends on how he's playing.
10? If we're down 10, I think that's a lot of ball. That's a lot of scores left. That's not much.
All right, so 20, he comes in.
Maybe just as a nod to.
Say here's the last.
Maybe
game.
a nod to Musket, but I mean, again, like I said, Elliott kind of postured himself as AC will probably be the starter. Based on these last few games.
And I think the good news is some of the offensive line things that are happening, Ellie was saying it's small, minor fixes where it's just fundamentals, they were missing a step, missing the angles. It sounds like it could be true or it could be easily corrected for next week. And we're also not going up against a top 15 team. So I think we should see a completely different Virginia team coming into rivalry week We play better on the road. I think
We don't play well
have
at Lane Stadium, though.
but we have Terrell coming back as well.
Before we move on to Tech.
Yeah, I'm not ready to move on yet.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the things are starting to stack our way. This was the toughest 3-game stretch of our season. We also got to remember we were looking at the schedule and we were going to lose 8 in a row. So we get the surprise win against Pitt. We got a good win against Boston College. I mean, the team has shown some things, but ultimately there's a lot of things that can be corrected.
Yeah, I mean, there were some high points in that game. I mean, the defense appeared to, hold. It's tough. When they're getting walked onto the field so much, but
they forced 2 turnovers as well, which gave us opportunities to score, and then play calling.
Look back at Notre Dame. I do think our defense in the past 2 games they show like a lot of resilience and a lot of fight in them. But the steam, if the offense isn't producing, the steam does run out. So that's they have the ability. Another great game for Sanker. That's pretty exciting.
Draft stock going up for sure.
Yeah.
We also our rushing defense played really well. Coming into
and that's
we don't want to keep talking about Tech and mixing it in with SMU, but coming into Tech week, who's got Tootin? We held them to 111 yards total rushing, and their top running back, we held him to 63 on 19. The defense is doing its job, and the bend don't break. So we had some poor opportunities and missed tackles on a few plays. That SMU's just fast, and once you miss one tackle, they're off to the races.
And it also just recapping this, it still seems that we have a few more things to figure out on special teams, especially punt return and kickoff return. I mean, we saw that one play where they miscommunicated, and it was just. And then but you had some similar types of plays in the Notre Dame game. So, if they weren't rattled in those other 2 games, we're about to go into Lane Stadium. Like, the boys better put some earplugs in. I don't know, and just but
they were pumping the crowd noise today.
And
it's not the same.
It's not the same, and it's a night game there, and you know how they get up there at night.
So I mean, the game was definitely a bummer. Tons of missed opportunities. There was tons of plays that took the wind out of our sails. We've seen that kind of be a theme this year. I'll probably touch on that. I'll touch on it right now. That's going to be key also in Virginia Tech is when we miss that big opportunity, just move on and continue to play. Because we saw it in the Notre game with the Kobe Pace fumble. We saw it in this one in the 12-man huddle.
Which, watching that back, he got out of the huddle, was running off the field, and then they broke the huddle. Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure on the rules there, but it seemed a little sketchy.
Unfortunately,
it
doesn't matter anymore.
Let's talk about the missed opportunity where we had the punt by Daniel Sparks. A guy catches it on allegedly the 3-yard line, and then he runs backwards into the end zone, and then we believe we tackled him. He falls in the end zone, but they gave him to the 3-yard line. They said it's forward progress, but I don't understand how you have forward progress when you're going backwards.
I will say he got out. It was at least a half-yard line.
It may not have been as close as a safety as we wanted, but I think he was definitely – that was a momentum breaker because we thought we had a safety right off the rip.
What makes it even worse is the series of plays. I mean, they got through and got up the field a little bit. So, for us not to pin them back a little bit more, it kind of made it bad for us. But, like I said, our boys have got to get mentally tough for this next game.
Yeah, they got to get ready. You got to see a little bit more. We keep saying it. Chris Tyree's got to figure it out. If not, thanks for the service.
He might be better in the running back position this week.
I think we got to stop beating ourselves in some of these situations. We talked about the holding penalty on the 25-yard Calandry run early, the 4th and 1 where we broke it with 12 guys, or we had 12 allegedly. There was other crucial plays where it's like we just started beating ourselves on, and we just not getting the getting what we needed done. So I want to bring up one more thing. It's we struggled again with third down efficiency, and I want to see if y'all recall anything differently than I did. How many times did y'all see us run the ball on first down and then get nothing, and then second down we're like, oh well, we got to run it again, and then third down it's like, oh well, shoot, it's 3rd and 6. What are we going to do? I don't think we can run it here. I mean, Mills, you were watching
times,
from home.
I think they ran it on 3rd down.
They did. They ran it on 3rd and 6 at least once. I remember seeing today. So, Mills, what were Do you remember what was our average? Like, weren't the commentators talking about how we were averaging like 2.8 yards a carry and we were still hell-bent on running the ball?
Yeah. I mean, I think on the commentator said at one point, he goes, well, we all know what they're going to do on first and second downs. They're going to run the ball. And he said that's basically their MO this whole year.
I mean, I kind of get it, though, because when
you have Brown, and Brown is
that's a
successful,
huge
and
problem.
then he broke his collarbone.
But you've seen in the games that we've won, it's all
he gets 5 or 6 yards.
And Kobe's had a few, too, but the games that we win, it's typically because our run offense is going. So, I mean,
I'm starting to wonder about that. Is our running game actually getting going and helping us out? Or are we just so hell-bent on running the ball that we run the ball to our detriment? If you look at it, we're trying to run. There's times where we've been 50-50. I mean, let's see.
I mean, the Pittsburgh game was 50-50.
Yeah.
170-170.
In this game, we had 39 rushing attempts.
I don't want to kick this can down the road any further, but when the run is going, it takes a little bit off of AC.
It does,
and if AC, like you said, you can't put it on AC. So if they're
Correct.
starting to keep, if it's starting to keep the defense a little bit more honest, then I get it. And I think that's maybe the perspective is they're trying to get that going. I do think that at some point though, you've got to do something a little bit different. And
I mean, I think when you said bringing Kyrie back in the backfield.
I always say that because of the injuries that we're facing.
Yeah, for sure.
But really, if you really look at it, I've thought all year Kobe, Pace, and Brown have been pretty
mediocre.
Good.
They've been doing well.
But so some of it depends on the holes they get and what the offensive and how well the other team schemes on defense for it.
So I don't have the season stats in front of me, but another abysmal showing on third down efficiency for 3 for 15, and then even fourth down 2 for 4. So it comes down to
a lot of questionable fourth down calls.
Fourth down play calling, and then missing the opportunities we had. So it's just there's a lot plaguing this team, and it's going to hurt. Hopefully we can figure some of them out and get some better play calling. We didn't do a lot of trickery. We didn't see a lot of run pass option. We didn't see too many design quarterback runs this week.
The problem is, though, Sean, we're coming into week 12.
Oh, I know.
We've had 11 weeks, actually, with the
we didn't fire Dez, so.
I'm just saying, like, we keep saying, hopefully they figure it out. Well, if they haven't figured out the first 11 games, they're probably not going to figure it out.
Well, some of the things.
It may take 11 if they figure it out on this one, then it's all.
You know what I'm saying? maybe, you know what, Elliot? It's like, we're going to play like shit the first 11, and we're going to save everything for Tech.
I mean, you watched him in that press conference today. They asked him about it, and he's like, man, I knew you were going to ask me about it. And then he just got real stern and looked at him. It's rivalry week.
What kind of, y'all, well, I don't want to talk about it because we haven't moved on. I think we're pretty eager to move on to the Tech.
Yeah, I'm done with
But
SMU.
I think for the most part, SMU is just, we have to remember the level of competition we played. I think CBS has us, top 60 team? We're like 55th.
And like dropped 72 now.
I get it, but I said it at the beginning of the year. Like when we play those types of teams, I don't necessarily expect us to win. I just want us to walk off with that team's respect. Notre Dame, we didn't walk off with respect. Clemson, we didn't walk off with respect. Well, Clemson, whatever.
We covered.
But,
on the last second touchdown.
But I'm just saying that, I wanted to walk off that game with more respect than that. And I felt that we just played at a pretty low level.
I have a question for you. You said you would have walked off the field with respect. Would you have said if we had lost by 13 to SMU, would that respect?
Sure.
I'm okay.
But when announcers are saying we played like high school teams and stuff like that, like, you know what I mean? And that guy's just trying to take a hot take, just like you do and like Sean does, like I do.
I just think it's one of those we don't have the athletes that some of these teams have.
Yeah. So moving on. Yeah. We got one ahead of us. How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited to play a team that's doing as poor as we are, and I think that might bode well for us. The problem is, anytime we get any excitement going into Tech Week, Tech finds some way to fuel the fire. And I don't know if they're going to find it from Elliott's press conference today.
So, Mills, this game is a pretty big game. There's a lot of history. Some people even question whether it's even a rivalry. But before we jump into that, I really, for the casual fan, you got any interesting nuggets for us?
Yeah, so this will be the 105th meeting. Tech technically leads right now, 61-38. in the all-time series. There are 5 ties, so there's a little nugget there. Since Virginia Tech joined the ACC, they are 18-1 against us in this game. The last time that UVA won was 2019. I believe Sean and I were there. I rushed the field.
I was there.
Oh, you were there too, Ben? Oh, I didn't know you were there.
I was there. Eli
rushed-
handback recovering the fumble in the end zone.
Yep, I was there. Rushed the field with my my wife. She was wearing Virginia Tech. Made her go on the field so everybody could throw some love at her. And then the big one, the last time that we won at Lane Stadium, 1998. What were y'all doing back in 1998?
Starting kindergarten.
Partying like it was 1999.
Fun fact, our quarterback was Aaron Brooks, and the game was called The Revenge. And shout out to our boy Ball Hawk. He caught the game-winning touchdown. And a picture that we are known to see is when he fell to his knees in the end zone. So, shout out to Ball Hawk. But, yeah, some people call this a rivalry. I call this a rivalry with a little not competitive right now.
Yeah, we almost had back-to-back with them.
Yep.
After that win that we had most recent, that was a pretty disheartening loss.
It was 2018 at Virginia Tech. We lost in overtime, and
Bryce Perkins fumbled the ball in overtime. God, that one hurt.
Can't hate on because he came back next year and beat him.
Build the stat. When are we going to build the statue for Bryce Perkins?
You can't.
I was thinking about
Then
it.
you got
Metaphorically, you have to. I mean, he's the last quarterback to beat
Matt
Virginia
Schaub
Tech.
should have gotten it.
I was thinking about we've been kind of spoiled. We won't have to kick this down the road too long either, but we've been kind of spoiled with our quarterback play. If you think about it, other than the past 2 years, I mean, we had Bryce and then we had Armstrong, and now we have what we have. But
because you said that.
Here he comes.
But remember how Armstrong looked we hated him, but look how he looked with Robert and I calling plays, and then the first year under Tony Elliott. So, and that was a very experienced team, and he should have looked.
And that's why Armstrong
well.
left.
yeah, and I would have liked to.
Well, he was leaving anyway. He was a grad transfer.
I'd like to read the memoirs on that one because I think there was a lot of internal strife going in. On
that was Tony hell bent on running the ball.
New program. Back to the history.
So I mean the big thing is this is as I said, the 105th. I mean, Sean, I know we have discussed a lot about this being our rivalry, and of lately in the last 28 years we won 3 times. These kids that are on this team, the last time that we won, none of them were born but 2.
You have to clarify, the last time we won at Lane Stadium. Only 2 of them were on the roster.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean,
so here, when you get into rivalry, I'm talking about other games like Ohio State, Michigan. They can bring former players in and say, hey, this is how we beat them. We going out to Aaron Brooks and Matt Schaub and Bryce Perkins. I mean, yeah, 2019, that's a little there, but before that, there's no one that you can really go back and say, hey, this game means so much, because we lost 15 straight to them. Like, how can you convince these kids to get up for this game?
I mean, you have to. It's Tech.
So, but rewind
you're
questioning whether it's an actual rival, right? So,
I mean, I'm not questioning it because it is a rivalry for the fandom, but I'm just saying, like, how does it mean to these kids?
Because, I'm saying, okay. Every time we win, it puts that stamp of legacy on their season.
Correct.
So that's really where you see it with these kids and why it means something. So maybe the 4 years before you or whatever, you didn't win, but it still matters.
Yeah.
And we may, we might get a bowl if we win, but if we were a 3-win team last year and if we win that game, the kids that end, they're walking off the field like, hey, well, my team beat Tech that year.
Yeah.
So, and that carries a lot of weight.
The one thing I will say about this game coming up, both teams are in bad records of 5 and 6. So I think one thing that will make this game mean even more, the winner of this game is going to a bowl. So there's a little more of that. Now, this happened 7 other times in the history of this game, and Tech has won all 7 when it had to be for both teams for bowl eligible. I just think Tech looks vulnerable. Do we look good? That's debatable. But Sean, this game gets to you. You hate Tech.
Well, I mean,
So how do you feel?
again, I kind of alluded to it. Every time we feel good going into Tech week,
Should we start feeling bad?
no, because I'm a positive guy. You know that. I'm that sunshine on a cloudy day. Like nothing's going to get me down,
AC
except for
appreciates
3
it.
Virginia losses in a row. Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, but that's
Saturday.
advantageous. That's advantageous. Well, I was to say
So it was a rough,
the football
rough,
losses are
and then
advantageous.
Commanders lost on Sunday. It's just been a rough patch.
Soccer team won though.
No. So going into this week, I want to say this is the time we do it. This is the time we roll in the Lane Stadium, and I think
Night game.
it's going to be cold. But I think this is the time we roll in the Lane. They're hurt. They're looking at a third-string
They
quarterback.
love night games though, dude. They love it. Those
Well,
fans get up for it. They show out.
Yeah, their fans actually show up. So that's a whole different
Win or loss.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So
They
Facts.
stay, right?
They do stay.
me and Ben stayed.
Oh,
the
I knew
very
you
end.
weren't. That's why I never drive. I never ride with you no more. I always drive.
Mills, you don't paint yourself as a great fan. Keep telling people you leaving early.
It's
don't
funny
have
because
season
we
tickets.
were walking back when we ran into those old heads. And they stayed the entire time. But I think if we keep staying, we might knock 10 years off of our life, Sean. But
I know it was good because when you stay, you get to talk to people.
Yeah, who'd you run into this weekend?
I talked to Carla.
grief counseling group therapy.
No, I was
Did you
talking.
give her any words of advice
Hey, I
about this
said,
program?
We just got to keep moving forward. I mean, I think we got the right pieces in play here.
Oh my Lanza, you were starstruck.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I wasn't expecting her to look up.
Thanks for having
She walked out, and no, I didn't say that. When she walked out, I was like, "Oh, it's Carla," and then I was like, "Hey, Carla," and she looked up, and I was like, "Oh." So
You're
then
lucky.
What do you say?
You're
What do you
lucky
have
I'm
it?
not there.
But you ain't gonna say anything. You ain't got brass.
You
between
have
your
no
legs.
marbles.
I would
Yeah.
100% have said something. to
Anyway,
her.
Let's bring it back. So Tech Week, I feel like this could be the time because I think we're due for a game. We've had these 2 rough games in a row. Looks like we're getting Terrell back. We lose Xavier Brown, but Noah Vaughn is going to give us. He's still going to give us a little bit of spark. He's not as banged up. Defensively, their secondary is not as strong. They gave up 2. They were down 14-0 quick to Duke. Now they did rally late to make a comeback in that game. They played a lot of closer games than it looks like, but
yeah, so they're hungry for a win too. And when I see, if I look back at their season, there was a lot of close games for them, and they either started strong or they ended strong. So, and that's always been typical with them. So, it's going to be interesting who starts at quarterback for them. I think that's going to be a big factor because not to say that the freshman that came in for relief was bad, but if he is the starter, he got a full week of reps. That's a huge thing for him, first team reps.
He almost won it. I mean, they lost by 3. He almost won it.
They probably should already be bowl eligible with the Miami game.
allegedly.
Right. And I think they had a few
That one
other.
stings for him.
No, not for us.
Not for us, but that's for them. It does.
But like I said, they haven't rose to the occasion in some of their games. Luckily, I think they've had an easier schedule than we have.
They're coming off. They're currently on a 3-game losing streak. We're coming off a 2-game. So
Man, Syracuse, Clemson, Duke. We had
they played them all pretty close.
we had Notre Dame.
So we both played Boston College, and both of us have beat Boston College, and that's the only
Similarity.
Yeah, that's the only same opponent we have. Welcome to the new era of ACC football, where our biggest game of the year, we've only had one similar opponent.
Yeah, it looks like their toughest opponent would have been Miami
And Clemson.
and Clemson. We played Clemson. They played Clemson closer than we did, but we put up more than they did.
Correct.
So it's going to be real interesting, and I think it's all going to go back. They definitely have a psychological advantage.
We didn't give them any bulletin board material. That's what I was going with the Elliott comment. We didn't give them any bulletin board material. We came off the high of who did we beat the week before Tech the week prior. I'm not sure. Whoever we beat, it gave us a little jolt of momentum, and then you get the camera and a microphone in front of Calandria after a big emotional win, And he's
an
like, yeah,
emotional
we're
guy.
coming in. So you give him bulletin board material.
Well, also with that, the one big thing I was just kind of thinking of just now is we have like 55 seniors on our squad. So how hard?
Yeah, we got like 42
I know I was being
seniors.
sarcastic, but how hard are they going to play, knowing
This is their chance.
this is their last hurrah against them?
I mean,
We beat Duke.
so we beat Duke
That, and Duke's a good win.
last year. Yeah, we beat last year. We beat Duke, and then you give Clander the microphone, and he makes a wild statement that opens the eyes. We didn't give him that, as far as I know, this year. There's not a whole lot of that going on. I just know Tech just finds a way, because let's be real. This is the only thing that Tech has to look forward to the rest of the year. They're not really good at anything else. Wrestling kind of decent, but
Still in
the only
tournament for women's soccer.
but the only
women's basketball is
the
pretty
only
good.
sport that the Tech fans know about is football. That's the only thing they have to do on Saturdays down in Blacksburg. I mean, they shut down the entire town for them to go to that game, and then
They just found their fuel.
so.
Thank you, Sean.
I mean, if they found that fuel with 19 listeners, I mean, fine, so be it. But I mean, Tech has
1900.
nothing. They have nothing in comparison. So this is all they have is football. So one game means so much more to them. Whereas we look at it, we got so much more. You can't even compare the two universities as a whole. So 35 national championships to 0. That trophy case is still empty.
Yeah, but come Saturday, it don't matter.
I know, but
And
I
that's
think
the thing. They're going to pack it up. They're going to show up.
I think to get into the football side of it, though, our defense, I think, will hold them, and I think it's going to keep us in the game as long as our offense can get jump started early. And I would love to see Calandria throw the ball all over the field. This is the last game of the year. You truly just got to let that thing rip. And
Well, I think if they go into if they're down in the second, coming into the second half, just let the leash take the leash off. Let
I
'em
think
roll.
I think you take the leash off right away. I think you got to call plays and you got to mix it up. We got to come out
So
with some of
speaking of
these
calling-
flea flickers.
Yeah, well, I was
and
going to ask you, what kind of wrinkles do you guys think we're going to see this week?
we got to see something.
well,
Anything.
the year
How about a third down conversion? That's a wrinkle we need.
Onside kick, first play.
I saw the in 2003 we were up going to be up by like 10, and Al Groh, instead of kicking the field goal, he did a fake field goal and rolled Matt Schaub out and threw it. So
We need a momentum builder. like that.
100%. I think
So-
I think also with this game is Elliott's 0-1.
So this is
This is his second one.
game.
So
first
being
one
up-
at Lane.
Yeah, first at Lane. He needs to kind of, if he wants to stay the coach here, he needs to make a mark. He needs to show something that gives us a chance against Tech.
And you want to talk about a guy who's fired up about this game? Jonas Sanker.
Oh, yeah, his last one.
Last one. He's got they all should have a bad taste in their mouth from how we
Yeah,
played
he talked
last
about
year.
he talked it on his thing about them quitting last year. He
He
I
said
don't-
they ain't going to see that again. And you know what's going to help us is I want to say we're the harder hitting team out of the two when we do lay the lumber. And Jonas Sanker is one of those guys who puts the hits on them. Cam Robinson's
you
going to
do
put
a
the
little
hits on.
late hit.
No, it's what I'm saying is it's going to be cold. So these boys are going to feel it more. And I think Jonas
What are
and
we gonna do
Cam,
with our 5 foot, 180 pound Florida boy?
he'll be all right. He's been around long enough.
You think he called his mama and brought him a parka up?
Cup of soup.
Nah, they can afford that. He's going to be good to go. He's going to have this.
bisque.
We're going to be good. They're going to have the heated. It's going to be a great game. And so, but again, it's going to come into us. I think our hard hitting defense is going to help out. Special teams is going to give it everything. It's going to get chippy.
Well, yeah, but I think I think a lot of our success is going to also hinge on who's starting quarterback for Tech. So I know Drones is a little banged up, so we're not even sure what his status is.
The backup
The
is kind of
backup.
banged up.
Knocked out of the game last week,
So they're down to their third string.
and they're down to the third string,
The
which
freshman didn't look bad.
like I said, and he's getting a full week of reps if he is the starter. But you could he's never played in this game either.
They're gaming that as well too because they asked Brent Pry about who's going to be your starter. Oh well, they're both questionable. They're gaming that. It's all
It's
about
smart.
the rivalry.
It's smart.
I agree. I'm giving
But,
some content out here,
you know-
Mills. It's all they're gaming it for the rivalry week.
Another thing you have is Tootin's full speed, and
That's a big boy out there.
he's going to the NFL. So, be curious to see how we plan for him. I think if you mix him in with the third string quarterback, I think we have more.
I would love to see a big game from Chico Bennett.
If we force them to have with their quarterback situation, it's going to force them to run the ball more. And I think we're coming off a good, successful week of stopping the run. So as long as we can eliminate the big plays, I think we have every opportunity to shut them down with our defense. It's just going to really be how many points can our offense put up.
Yeah, I mean we're really pumping this fan base up that this is that we have a.
This is a rivalry. This is what you get.
This is what Sean lived for when we first started this. He couldn't wait for this.
I know. Maybe
we've been waiting for this for all year. I'm not going to tell you we're going to lose this game. We're going to come in.
Yeah, let's click it. What's the score? Come on, Sean. Let's go ahead and get you. Give me a score. We can also we can get a
28-21.
I hope it's
Virginia.
I hope it's 10-7 Virginia.
Damn.
I don't know. I want to at least put some points on the board because man, it's going to be tough to sit there and.
We all going to get together and watch this one, boys.
Yeah, I think that's
8
a given. 8:00 game, prime time.
Y'all come to my house.
It's the bowl game. It's a bowl game to go to a bowl game. So.
You know what? Let's win this one and not go to a bowl game.
I think you deserve the seniors, the 40-plus seniors deserve to get that PS5 at the end of the year for going to a bowl game. You know, they get a little more per diem. But also with a bowl game, that's going to help us out in the long term as well, especially with our depth, is you're going to get more practice time. You're going to get some more exposure. So
I think these games can be a little bit more easier to digest when they are closer games. Last year was
heartbreak's heartbreak.
Well,
I'm gonna end up drinking regardless.
Last year was an absolute embarrassment.
Ass-whooping. That was an ass.
Oh, you want some poster board material? Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot all about this. We let the opposing team
here we come.
Storm our field.
Buckle up, everybody. This
so
rocket's about to take off.
If I'm Tony Elliott, I'm putting that picture up in our locker room for everybody to see. Because that right there is the most egregious thing I've ever seen. Now, granted, our field sets up for it, but you can't allow that to happen. So we need to go in. We need to take care of. Our fans aren't going to show out at Lane Stadium. So
no, because they don't give us tickets to buy.
We might freeze to death if we pull that stunt.
I've been to a colder game, so I'll tell you about that Military Bowl back in Broncos' second year. That was a cold game
when we could make a bowl game.
Yeah, but. The only thing that started off well was the opening kick, and then after that, it went downhill. But so post that picture up all across the facility this week. Say we're not going to let this happen, and we're going to revenge this. Kind of like Mill says, let's call this revenge game part 2 because we haven't won it since the revenge game. So you might as well give it some type of moniker. Get out there and beat Tech. Just get it done. If you beat Tech as this team, you will go down as the team that everybody talks about. We will build the 5'11" statue of Calandria on outside.
What if his musket? What if he throws a wrinkle in his musket?
As long as we don't hire the Dwayne
Yeah,
Wade.
whoever. Yeah, or the Ronaldo, and that was worse too. But if you win this game, your legacy is set as a Virginia Cavalier to go out and win in Lane Stadium. It gets me fired up. I wish I could be part of this team because I think we have a great chance to do it, and I would love to see it. And man, if we do. We're celebrating hard out here ourselves. Cigars, bourbon. We're going to have a good old time. And that's
pig roast.
The problem is you can't really prepare because it's got to be organic. Because if I bring the cigars and the bourbon,
I'm just going to bring the live pig, and if we don't win, I'll just take the live pig back home.
You got saved for one more week, babe. So I think this is our time. I think we get it done.
Wilbur the pig.
But, we're really excited about this game. You have anything else you want to add, Mills, about this? What would it mean to you if we won? We know what it means to Sean.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I want to start seeing this rivalry be even more competitive. And I know some of these games, you go back in the history and look at the 15 that we lost straight. There are some games that we only lost by a score. I just would like it to be more back and forth, or we get a stretch of I want to be a part of winning 3 or 4 straight.
Who is this win is who is it more important to?
UVA.
Tech or UVA?
UVA, because Tech fans are going to show up next year. They're going to be bad. They're going to still show up next year. We're literally right now in a part where fans don't want to come to games, and I'm part of it because you want to see winning product on the field, and we haven't had that in a while. Successful program. I think that this means more for us than Tech because we're now, 3 straight games now since 2019 that we've lost, so we're on a three-game losing streak. I think we don't want to go into a 4 where it's now 4 years. These seniors now played, no one's beat Tech.
And I agree. And going back to who a bigger game for, if we keep Tech out of a bowl game with the expectations that Tech had on their season, everybody was talking about, this is a wild card team that could make the playoff. Brent Pry's on the hot seat.
Oh, he's 100%
so
on the hot seat.
So if we go
they
into lane,
their billboards already.
You're saying their fan boards or discussion boards.
Yeah, they're all saying that he needs to go.
So then if we go into lane and we beat them in their own stadium to go bowling, hold them away from bowling, Brent Pry is going to get fired.
So let me ask y'all this. I'm going to play, if we do lose this game, which I hope we don't, but if we lose this and we do get blown out like we did last year, how your feelings with Elliott?
I don't think Elliott's getting fired this year.
No, I don't think he is, but what do you think he's on the hot seat starting next year?
Oh, you definitely have to show improvement next year, or then it really comes into question like what we're doing. I think he's done enough to show progression and that he's not going to get fired after this year.
But you got to win this game.
I do think it adds a little bit of an extra layer if he gets blown out. I feel like that what success looks like next year
changes.
It may change, for what he's his, it's not just making it to a bowl game is good enough. It may be a little bit more.
Bowl game and beat Tech.
No, not even bowl game. It might be like we need 7-8 wins.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think financially
you can't do it.
I think they're just gonna kind of ride this train home. But one point I wanted to kind of make is, with the changing landscape of college football, we really should cherish these types of games because there could come a point where you may not get this rivalry game every year anymore.
Texas A&M rivalry renewed. I know it's not the Red River rivalry, but that's a in-state type of rivalry that was on hold for 15, 16 years.
Right.
So
coming back.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like,
what's this mean to you, Ben? You asked both of us what are your 2 cents of what it means to you?
I mean, what it sets the precedent of what it's going to be like in my household for the next year.
I know that feeling.
My wife is a Tech fan.
My wife's a Tech fan too,
and her family's a Tech fan. So.
Am I the only one who married right? My wife doesn't watch football at all.
She also says that we suck. So
she says that about any team I like.
But anyway, that's my It sets the level. I have a young daughter. Maybe it'd be nice to tell my young daughter, hey, we beat them. Don't listen to her. You know what I mean? So.
What's your score prediction? You haven't done it really. You just give us a score. You have to. It's the last game of the season. What's your score?
Madison wants score predictions back.
Our producer Madison.
Shout out, Madison! Big shout out. He says that UVA owes him a car because apparently going up to one game he got in a little fender bender. So
we talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, if you want to feel safe driving to a game, you ride with Sean, and he'll get you there.
But
you might end up on somebody else's bumper, but whatever. But
what's your kick? What's your score?
Oh man, so
Sean, you sticking with 28-21?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe one of those scores is going to be defensive. And I want to bring up real quick, we got to keep them from quote unquote Beamer ball, even though he's not there and he's down in South Carolina.
They love that special team.
They love that. So I think we have to be very cautious. We don't allow that to show up this game.
I don't know. I think we have the capacity to put up at least 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
100%.
I'm going. So what you going with?
Let's say 2 minus 3. 3. I'll go 21-17.
I'm going 27-24 on a walk-off kick by our man Will.
A lot of confidence.
And I do realize now that I'm looking at the score, like they haven't been held to under 17 except for one game.
I'm going 27-24.
They do show flashes in the pan of being a good football team. They just have have not been able to put it together all year and win the games that they were supposed to win.
We just got to put it together for 60 minutes.
That's it.
Can I bring something up real quick? Not to throw us off.
You're fine, man.
We want to complain about our attendance and being really low at 35,000 this week. We didn't really touch on the fans and how there was a lot of lack of support on
It's
Senior
because
Day.
I'm tired of talking about the fans.
Oh, I know. But I just want to point out, Duke, 22,000 fans.
Oh, Duke. Well, Duke
they're
doesn't care
at
about
Duke.
football. They don't.
That's
care.
what I'm saying. At Duke, there was only 22,000 fans.
They worry about basketball. It's basketball season now, man.
How big's their stadium?
Probably
I don't know, but
35.
22,000 is pretty. You could probably fit 22,000 in Cameron Indoor. They would find a way. So
What about those home games at Tech?
Yeah, 65.
Yeah.
They're selling out.
60. Well, that was at Miami. 65. Yeah, it's going to be 65,000 plus whoever they can fit.
Supposed to be a chilly one. Could be the second coldest game. The Lane Stadium C.
Will you go to Tech 2 years from now?
No, not a chance.
Why?
I'll go.
I'll go.
I'll go with you.
It's 3.
Oh, gosh.
Why wouldn't
Now,
you go?
I mean, if all three of us went, yeah, I would go. But I don't do well dealing with the opposing fans and how I know.
so
Tech
you can
fans
heckle.
could be.
You can heckle them when they come.
No,
to
I'm
ours.
I'm respectful because this is the problem with Virginia. The people who have season tickets in front of me are Tech fans, and I only see them every other year. So they are very respectful, and we have good conversation. I'm a respectable person when it comes to things, and I know I'm just not the type of guy.
And they-
Because I have to control myself.
Isn't that crazy? The guy.
Look, I know how to
the
control
seats
you.
in front of you are Tech fans, so they buy season tickets.
Well, at least they're supporting our program to a point.
They probably got season tickets at Tech.
They didn't show up at all this year, except for they never showed up, but the seats went unused most of the year. A lot of leg room.
A lot of people didn't show up.
A lot of people.
Mills?
I came to 2. Relax, pump your brakes.
We had more wins than you showed up to games. I went to 5 or 6.
You know, I will say, we mentioned it. You were joking around. Like, we have more road wins than we do.
We do. We
do
play better
home
on the
wins.
road.
So, and I feel like
Do we pay some student to
the
go on
Clemson
the
game
field?
was
No, stop.
Do
I
we
know.
pay,
No,
do we
no,
pay
no,
some student
no.
to go jump on the field and put UVA on there? Like
I
they
thought you were
did?
going. I thought you were going elsewhere. Then so.
What are you
No,
doing?
they were talking about that on Twitter, talking about how Virginia Tech got into
painted our
spray
spray
painted our field.
I was at that game.
I don't know how you can come back from that. Is it?
They literally delayed the game because they had the field group out there spray painting it green.
Well, if you're a fan, I just hope that you tune in, and you may not be there, but I hope everybody gets to enjoy this game, and
8 o'clock.
and
ACC
I hope you
Network.
guys have enjoyed the season. Yeah.
Don't act like this is like the final countdown for the year. We got one.
This might be
we
our
got one
last
more
podcast.
No, we got one more wrap up.
If they lose 60,
And then we got
might as
the-
well sell these microphones.
We got the preview for the bowl game.
Basketball ain't looking much better. What was final score tonight
We won by 9,
Oof.
against Manhattan?
75.
We're not going to
64.
talk about basketball. Don't worry, Madison. Well, we will be talking about that in the future.
So we did not cover tonight.
We're not talking basketball. It's what we won. That's all that matters.
Yeah, tough stretch for basketball.
All right.
All right. Well, folks, hope you enjoyed this podcast this evening. If you're not following us on X, you can follow us at Cardiac Who's. As always, go Who's.
Go Who's.
Go Hoos.
Fuck
Tech.
Tech.